Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this virtual club meeting for the EMEA region. And I'm so happy, Nathalie, that you were able to talk to us tonight. But I must admit that we have not met, as far as I can recall, at least. So perhaps you could start by telling us something about yourself before you begin your presentation.
Oh my goodness. Well, the presentation is about my skydiving career. And I started jumping in 72 and I stopped at 2000 during the millennium. And I started flying in 93 and I had to stop flying because of COVID in 2020. So I've been skydiving for 30 years and I've been flying for 30 years. And furthermore, I live in Belgium and I'm a long-time member of IFFR and a Rotary member. And yeah, what can I tell you more about me? I'm at the moment, I'm not flying anymore because of long COVID, but there are a lot of other activities I can do. I write articles about aviation for a magazine for the Royal Dutch Aeronautical Association. And I am a delegate for Belgium in the Federation of European Women Pilots. And also now I am a member of the board of the Dutch female organization of women in aviation. So I think that's most of it. I'm vegetarian and I have 2 dogs.
And Nathalie, you shouldn't be too shy to say that Nathalie was actually the designer. She did the design for my IFFR president's banner that hopefully most of you have seen now. Yeah. Nathalie was the brains and design behind that. So thank you for your support to me on that.
Well, I am a graphic designer from my profession. So, it was an honor to do that for you, George.
You have a very impressive background.
Well, for me, it's all very normal, but I have a saying to myself, if you need something nice to do, never say no, say yes, and then you can do whatever you want.
That's a good motto.
Well, I think, maybe we can start with the presentation. If anybody has questions about my background, then we can start the presentation. George, you have to help me. How I have to share screen?
Share screen, and then it should pop up the window that shows you the things you got open on your computer there.
Yeah.
And then you find the right one and click on it.
Okay.
Here we go.
And then I have to find...
Top left, that's it. Yep, that should be the one.
Oh, it's... Okay. Okay, this is the first one. Anybody can hear me correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
We hear you loud and clear.
Unmute yourself. If you have any questions, please let me know. So this is the first slide. You see me doing a tandem jump with my husband, who was a tandem master. I had a leg injury and I couldn't jump for a long time. So the first jump I made was a tandem jump with him. It's above Zeeland where we jumped at that moment. The second one you see here, where I jumped all over the world. And I must apologize because in the title it says that I jumped on 6 continents, but I only jumped on 5 continents. I've been to Africa quite sometimes, but I never was able to organize a skydive over there. So I hope you're not too disappointed to hear about that. So, and I have of course slides of the number of jumps over there. You see North Pole, South Pole, and Australia, South America, North America, and all over Europe. These are the first slides, and I will do that quite quickly because the interesting ones at the end. These are the official documentation you have to have before you make a parachute jump in Holland. That was in Holland. I don't know if things changed very much, but I still think that that you have to have certain paperwork from the government. And you see on my license, parachuting license, these are, you can see my cursor because these are the special licenses you get for special jumps. And you have license A, B, C, D. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but anyway, it was when I started. And here you see, I started at the first Dutch parachute club, and it was called the AMPC on Seppe Airfield. And we had a training at the Gilse Air Base, where also the parachutists, the military parachutists have their training. And you see me here before the Cessna for my first parachute jump. And you see me here, I jumped with a round canopy. You see me the first jump on the Ruggense Heide. That was a very big drop zone we had near the airport of Seppe. And the picture on the right is after my first free fall. You see different jumps with also different equipment. The round canopy is changed here, also round canopy, but more sophisticated. You have had more horizontal speed with this canopy. You can steer better with it. This is an exit above the Ruggense Heide. And here you see also an exit. You see different equipment here already. First of all, I jumped with the main parachute on my back and the reserve in the front, but later you get a rig with the reserve on top of the main parachute on your back. This is my first article in a newspaper, and it says sweet and agile. Well, sweet I still am, of course, but not so agile anymore. A number of articles appeared in magazines and in newspapers. I was an air hostess with KLM, and they published an article where you can see it's reversed striptease, because it started with only the basics and it ended with the complete equipment. And this article appeared all over the world, and they sent it to me in Chinese. I hope it's Chinese, but all kinds of languages. And that was, of course, very nice to see travel the world. After I was an air hostess with the KLM, I had a work at the what is this? It was a bank in Holland, and they had magazines, and it's called Informal, and they also published an article about my parachuting. I think it was about 4 pages, and it was a very nice article. Then the first ladies team in Holland, I was part of that with 4, and later with 5, and a little bit later 6, and we were called the Ladybirds. And you see a few pictures of us, and of course articles in the skydiving magazine and Exit. And here I am in front of the. Can you see the cursor? Yeah. Okay. More articles in a newspaper. It's a big newspaper in Holland. And it says ladybirds, 5 women in
Margit,
Does anybody have a
Stockholm.
Do you have a question? No question. Okay. And there was this was the journalist who made pictures of us jumping on Teuge Airport. And here you see my team with we had our own t-shirts. Some more articles, because at that time it was special for ladies to skydive. You know, we were, I think, only 5% of the skydiving community consisted of women, so it was special. So we got articles in all kinds of magazines, and this guy here in front was for a time our trainer. And also an article in the Ritz, and that was a special article because we were, I think, the only females in this magazine that had our clothes on. Here you see pictures of the Lady Skydive Day. I organized on Teuge. We had a lot of ladies that did all kinds of jumps on that day. And together, this is me with a woman who organized it with me. We made a jump to advertise for this day. And here you see national championships in which I competed. These were the ones in Teuge in '73, but we did a lot of competitions. And we did a competition formation skydiving and accuracy, and you had to land on a disc of 15 centimeters. And all the distance from the disc, that was your score, and the one with the less score would won. Here you see a lot of pictures during the competitions, and I have to find out, because I see myself for all the years, but we competed in 10 national championships, and you see here pictures of some of those championships. And here I jumped with a Strato Cloud, which was a 7-cell square parachute, because at that time nobody jumped the round canopy anymore. We still come together every year, the Ladybirds team. I'm sorry to say that she passed away. She isn't with us anymore, but the other members, we still are with 4 members or 5 members. We have every year a meeting, and this last year we went together to York for a few days and had a very nice time. We come together every year for a one-day meeting, and once in a few years, we do a city trip in Europe somewhere. These were the competitions in Germany at the RAPAMIT, the Rhine Army Parachute Association. They organized competitions in formation skydiving and accuracy. And you see here an exit from the helicopter. We jumped there from CH-53, and we have done this competition 5 times. And you are looking here at my beautiful bag. And this is a picture of the accuracy. You see my leg is stretched to the disc, but I didn't make it right. We did also a lot of demonstration jumps. Here you see a demonstration jumps. The chief of the ATC, the military ATC in Holland, he retired, and we did a parachute jump to his retirement. And you see us here before. I don't know. They told me it's called in English a barrel organ, a hurdy-gurdy. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And you see the team here with the mascot of the mill at EC. They were stationed in somewhere Dutch mill in the middle of the country. It's but now I heard yesterday that all the ATC activities are now from Amsterdam. This is the first female record we made, left, upper left, and this is me with the white helmet. And it's a long time ago. It's in 1883, and later we made with this group of girls. Here I am in the troopship F-27. We jumped at Eindhoven and we made this female record. We held it for a long time, but a few years ago they broke the record. And after the presentation, I have a short film, 3 minutes, of a training jump of this record. This is a special slide because it's not high jumping, but the Russians invited me to organize a jump with handicapped people in Anapa during the world record attempt, a 300 way, which they made. You see it upper right. And the organizer is B.J. Worth, who also made the jumps from for the James Bond movies. And we jumped there from me 36 helicopters. You see them here. And the handicapped jumpers jumped from the from the turbolet. You see it here. I took this this Dutch. It was not a jumper, but a guy in a wheelchair, and he did a lot of tandem jumps there with a Russian tandem master. And this is the group lower left of the handicapped jumpers. And here and on the lower right, you see the complete group of skydivers for this jump from a world record jump. Some more jumps. I jumped in Manston, and it was a demonstration jump at Broadstairs, a D-Day memorial jump. Also in a park in Arnhem, in Sonsbeek Park. It's all memorial jumps. And we also jumped at Broadstairs on the beach. And that was a fantastic sight because we jumped out of the F-27 and we saw we jumped on the beach, and on the sea there were a lot of boats there. It was a wonderful sight. And I made a four-way star above the water, and we landed all on the beach. And here you see a jump from the F-27 near The Hague on the old airfield of Ypenburg. Some more demonstration jumps, here still with a round canopy. And here you see me with my husband on our way to a demonstration jump in Axel. This is a demonstration jump near my home on the sports field. And here you see with two guys who invited me for an interview for the television, who was present on that demonstration jump. More demonstration jumps and more interviews. And this was a very nice jump on the beach near Scheveningen. And it was for the birthday of my friend Maus. She went with me to the North Pole a couple of times. To the North Pole because she wasn't a skydiver, but she did tandem jumps. And after that trip, she had our training to be a skydiver, and on the South Pole, she did a solo jump with me. But it was very nice, this jump, because it was rather windy, so we had to exit far away over the sea, and that's a little bit scary because you want to land not on the water but on the beach, but we all did, so that was not a big problem. Okay, this one is a demonstration jump I did on Michelstadt in Germany during an air show, and there were the Red Arrows had the demonstration flight over there, and the manager from the display team signed my logbook. That was very nice, of course. Then we had a technical congress in Hungary in 91, and I went there with a couple of people. And we also did after the meeting, the congress, we went to Gödeler Airfield to make a parachute jump from the Antonov, and it was my 900th jump, and everybody signed my logbook. We had a team in Holland, and they did canopy relative, what you see above here. And this is a 4-way. It's just an example of their kind of jumping. And of course, that was rather special, because when you start skydiving, you learn to keep away from other parachutes when you open your parachute. But with the canopy relative, you have to go to other parachutes and make contact. This team, they were called the Mafia. They went to the World Championships in Australia, and with the sponsor money of the National Aero Club. And they agreed that coming back, they had to tell other people about their experiences. So I went to that weekend and I did some kind of relative work myself. And at the end of the weekend, I docked, came to a formation of 3. I docked as 4. So I was very happy about that. It's fun to do it, but I never did it again. No, I'm going to. Well, this is the first Moscow boogie I went to. 2 of my skydiving friends, they told me we are going to Russia because we met the Russian center of the chief of the Moscow Parachute Club in France. And he invited us after the Iron Curtain was opened to come to Russia to a boogie. And a boogie is not a competition, but it's like a festival. You make very nice jumps with each other from very nice and interesting airplanes. And so we went, the 3 of us went there, and we made wonderful jumps over there. And you see me here in the middle, the big formation, all Russians except my friend here, she's over here. And we had a wonderful time, and we said, well, we should get more people to come to these boogies, because yeah, the Russians had very nice airplanes. They had helicopters to jump from. You could fly airplanes. It was a wonderful time. But the year after that, we went there. We didn't get more people to come. This is 91. This was the second one. On the first one, I have to tell you, there was, I'm going back, yeah, because they organized a low jump. And of course, in Holland, it's not allowed to, you have to open your parachute, and your parachute needs to be open at 2,000 feet. But in Russia, they had special parachutes for demonstration jumps, and you could open much lower. And they organized that, and a whole group of people wanted to do it. But at the end, there was one Canadian guy and myself who did this jump. The rest, they didn't want to do it anymore. So we jumped, and it was static line. So you were attached with a line to the aircraft, because free fall from we jumped from 500 feet, and free fall from 500 feet is not very commendable. So we did a static line jump from 500 feet. And after that boogie, I went to Holland, and they organized on Seppe Airfield, they organized a jump from an Antonov 2. And they told me, said, well, will you join us doing this jump? I said, yes, of course. And they said, do you have any experience jumping the Antonov? I said, yes, from 500 feet. And everybody fainted because it was not allowed in Holland. This was the second one. You see, the Sportparachutist is the national magazine from the Dutch Aero Club. And you see the formation here on the cover. I told the Russian cameraman, if you make this picture, then I'll put it on the cover. And of course he made it, and it was on the cover. And after this moment, they all fell apart, because this was a Russian girl who was not very experienced in doing formation skydiving. So she fell on the formation, and the formation was quite from each other away. Well, this is a slide about my jumping in California. Our national team, 10-way team, wanted to train from a DC-3, which was not available in Europe at that time. So they organized a trip for the team, plus a lot of people who wanted to come there, because the DC-3 is not completely filled with 10 people. You need a lot more. So there was a whole group of people going there and jumping the DC-3. I made about 26 jumps there, I think. We had a rigger in Holland. A rigger is a technician who is allowed to make parachutes, to fold reserve parachutes, because that's a different story. You couldn't do that yourself. And there were people from Iraq who wanted to see our equipment and our way of instruction. So they invited a group of people to come to Iraq and show them our equipment and doing some jumps there. So we jumped in Baghdad from Antonovs and from helicopters. But it was a very nice Mi-8 helicopters they had. So it was a very nice experience. The picture on top right, you see cameramen, how they used to make pictures in the air. See them with a lot of heavy equipment on their helmet, and it was very heavy, and a lot of them had problems with their neck because of the opening of the parachutes. And now they have very small video cameras on their hands, and nobody ever does this anymore. But it was nice to have a picture of that, to see the difference between camera work then and now. Some pictures of all over the world. This is together with my husband and exits. Here I was in Germany to fly the parachute, but they also had an ultralight, and I flew the ultralight and I made a jump out of it. It took forever to go to the height that I needed for jumping, but it was quite nice. Did a lot of problems getting out of it on altitude. And here on the top picture, you see me in Melbourne. I made a jump there, and it was about 43 degrees. It was very hot. And they just had their national championships. And I said, can I do a parachute jump? Because I was flying with KLM and they put me on this flight to Melbourne as a reserve. So I didn't have any papers with me about my skydiving abilities. So they gave me a small examination and they allowed me to make a jump onto there. And this is just an exit above Zeeland. And here you see a formation over Zeeland. This is me and my husband. The first North Pole jump. When I was in Russia, I was asked by a Russian jumper who was a member of the Russian Red Cross. And he said, I'm going to organize skydives over difficult territories because we wanted to show the people that we can do tandems in difficult places to with a doctor or whatever to give assistance to people over there which are very difficult to reach by car or by airplane. So he thought organizing it on the North Pole, it was enough evidence that he could jump anywhere with a doctor or whatever. And he said, well, to make this possible, I need a lot more jumpers to come with me because, of course, yeah, it's difficult and it's expensive. So you cannot do this for a very small company. So we had a group from Holland and we went first to Moscow and later to Siberia. And in Siberia, there we had a IFFR, which is a big four-engine jet plane, a cargo plane, which can have about, I think about 100 people can be in it. And so we organized our a North Pole jump. No, not over there. In 94, we did the same. Here you see me standing before the IFFR, which is a very big airplane. And the pilots are in the cockpit here, and here is a navigator is lying here to see where we are flying. We did a lot of excursions there from the Mi-8 helicopter, and so it was not only making this jump, but also in Siberia do a lot of excursions. Here you see me with my sponsor, ING Bank, and with the flag. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but it was supposed to be the Dutch flag, but it was upside down. But with all the clothing on, I didn't notice that it was upside down. But when we published this article in a magazine, the printers reversed the colors. So in the magazine, it was okay. No, okay. 95, we were we had a big group as well.
Please charge.
Does anyone have a question? No questions? I heard somebody. Okay. Here you see the exit from the Ilyushin. And they had a very big ramp. You could stand there with 5 people next to each other. So, and you have to do it very quickly after one another because it flies very fast. And you want to be on the ground in one group. We were sponsored by DuPont. We had clothing specially designed for us for this jump by DuPont. And here you see a group picture. And here you see three ladies on that year on the North Pole. This is me. '94, '95. Here we are in '96, I think. Yes, '96. Here you see me together with with an American, Bob Christ. He organized the US skydivers, and I did the rest of the world. So we had a lot of people from all over the world, but because of the articles I wrote about this jump, everybody wanted to come. So we had to have a passenger airplane from Moscow to Siberia to bring all the people that wanted to jump there together. Here you see me with a cap of Canada, because I'm also Canadian, but I was born and raised in Holland. So I'm Canadian as well as Dutch. And here you see me together with a group of the Russian organizers. And this is the cameraman who made these pictures. I think this that was, I think, the last North Pole jump in 99. And there was a big group from the Philippines. You see them here all together in front of the Illusion 76. I'm here in blue jacket. And here you see us in the Illusion. And there was a girl here, a very young girl, who made her first North Pole jump over there. It was very nice. And here you can see my double nationality, Canadian and Dutch. This is a slide with some of the other activities. I went to the Parachute Industry Association Congress in 97, 99, and 2001 in Houston. And you remember maybe that President Bush made a solo parachute jump. And I met him at this Congress because he wanted to meet the people of the press. And I was there as a journalist from the Dutch parachuting magazine. So I shook hands with President Bush. And the pictures in the middle, the black and white pictures, are from a parachute expedition to Kamchatka. No, it was not Kamchatka, it was in Baikal. Baikal is a lake in Russia. It's the deepest sweetwater lake in Russia. And the Russians thought it would be nice to organize a boogie there. But for the Russians, Baikal is something special. Everybody knows about it. But for the rest of the world, Baikal is not very known. You know, the North Pole, everybody knows. The South Pole, everybody knows. But Baikal is not that known. So they organized a trial expedition. And I was there. I was invited to come on this expedition. But I told them it would be very difficult to organize a group to do a boogie over there. And I think they only did it once. But we had a very nice group there from Germany and Belgium and Holland and Russia. Well, this is an introduction to the last jump I did. So the Russians organized all the North Pole jumps. And they said, we also want to organize a jump on the South Pole, which is very difficult because the South Pole is owned by the National Science Foundation. And a lot of countries are a member of the Science Foundation. And you have to have agreement of them. And we wanted to jump there, but they didn't want an airplane to land on their airstrip because a big airplane like Illusion 76 is impossible to fly on skis. But they were afraid that if they would allow an airplane on tires, that the airstrip would break. So we were not allowed to come to the South Pole with the Illusion 76. So we were 3 years, we were busy organizing this. It took a lot of money. It was about $3 million. And we would take the skydivers from all over the world would pay a part, and the Russians would pay also a part, because we had to organize vehicles that could drive from where we jumped on Patriot Hills to the South Pole. But I don't think that the Russians got any money, so we had to organize everything from the money that came from the West. But anyway, it was a very special expedition. And here you see we had a training in hyperbaric. We did a hyperbaric flight in a tank, an oxygen tank, because the South Pole is on a special altitude. It's I think about 10,000 feet above sea level. So if you jump there, if you make a free fall, you have to jump with oxygen. So that's why we did this training. And of course, it was very special. We could organize that in Soesterberg, where also our military pilots get those oxygen training. We also did a jump from 20,000 feet in Rotterdam. We had oxygen in the aircraft, but we jumped without because you don't need bailout oxygen from 20,000 feet. You come into oxygen okay air quickly enough. After a few seconds you can breathe again. So we only had oxygen in the aircraft, and we had two of the guys that gave us training in Soesterberg. They went with us in Rotterdam to make this jump, and we did it from a Pilatus mortar. And it was difficult because on 20,000 feet there was a big headwind, so the Pilatus all had a lot of trouble. It took a lot of time to reach the exit point. He almost stood still in the air, but we finally did it. And we had a very long free fall. It was the free fall. Normally you have to do something. You have to make a formation of everything, but only falling down from 20,000 feet, it took forever. So that was not a very nice not a very nice feeling. Oh my goodness, this was so quickly. Yeah. This is the jump on the South Pole. And here you see me jumping, and here you see all the signatures of all the people who jumped on the South Pole. Here you see a little bit of an exit picture, which is not very clear. You see me together with Maus. We have just landed. Here's a small chart. This is where we jumped. It's not on the geographic South Pole, but at Patriot Hills, because we were not allowed to fly with the Illusion to the South Pole. And here you see that part of the group just landed. And it was very nice because during one of the congresses, I met Joe Kittinger, who made this very high jump, and he signed my logbook from this jump. Well, this was my last solo jump. I did another jump, a tandem jump with my husband. Here you see, because I've only talked about my kind of jumping, but there are a lot of different disciplines. Here you see this canopy formation jumping, and I don't know if this was a record, but I think they already made a larger formation. Here you see what they call head down, and you can do all kinds of different exercises on your head, apparently. This is sky surfing, and one of the guys did this on the North Pole as well. Here you see high altitude jumps and military jumps, and this is a very good way of training on the wind tunnel to do different exercises in the air in free fall. Some statistics. Well, I've made 1,045 jumps, 10 hours free fall. In 15 countries I have jumped, and here you see a list of all the jumps where I've been. And then the aircraft I have jumped from, I'm not going to list them all. And my first jump was in 71 in the Netherlands, and my last in the South Pole. And I have been an assistant instructor for 4 years. I've been a secretary of the Royal Netherlands Aeronautical Association, Department of Parachuting, and a member of the promotion team. I have done 21st years as editor and designer of the magazine. I'm the first woman who jumped both poles 5 times and the South Pole, but I haven't worked on it to be in the book of Guinness Book of Records. I got a FAI diploma of pole descendier, and that's for services to aeronautics and air sports. I've jumped about 50 demonstration jumps and accuracy and style information jumping. Well, and the last, I was one of the first recipients of the European Medal of Special Achievements. And you see here a picture of this medal I received in, and it was in Strasbourg by an official, Herr Walter Schwimmer. Well, and why do you jump? Yeah, this is from a book, Why Fall Skies Fall, that's all. And that's the only thing I can say. Why do you jump? Yeah, skies fall. So that's my presentation. Are there any questions about it? We can.
Many people will be on mute at the minute, which we've muted. So if you did want to ask questions, that's that. Or Nathalie, did you want to show your short 3-minute video and then
yes,
take questions at the end? And then
how can I stop this one?
so you stop the sharing from there. There should be a little red button at the top of it. So, or I can stop it for you if you want.
Yeah.
Right. Does that stop it now? And if you go to screen sharing again and find where you have your little video hopefully ready, and remember to press the button to turn the sound on as well with it, and then we should be good to go.
Okay. This is and the sounds. Where do I find the sound?
Well, it was on that screen button before you started sharing. Okay.
Oh.
So should I stop the sharing again for you again? Yeah. I'll stop your sharing.
Yeah.
And when you open up the start sharing, and it may have certain screens there, near the bottom usually is a little button that says share sound or something like that. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
So you tick that box and then you click to share the video.
Okay. Okay, so I'll put it on now.
Yeah.
Okay. That was just about a training jump of the record. So I'm sorry that I didn't have a video of the record itself, but you get some idea of how we do formation jumping.
Thank you very, very much. And as you mentioned, perhaps there are some questions for you.
Yes, please. But you have to unmute yourself to no questions.
I have one for you, Nathalie.
Okay.
And I dressed up tonight with a propeller just for you. But thank you for a very nice presentation, and I'm always bewildered of what you've been doing all these years, and especially of you jumping out of perfectly working aeroplanes. This is a very quick sport, isn't it? But as I understand, you actually stopped back in year 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have to be current. You have to skydive a lot to be current. You know, otherwise it's not safe anymore. So,
no, okay. So that was the reason.
Yeah. I had just begun in '93 of flying, and it took also a lot of time, and it's very difficult to do both the sports at the same time. So I had to choose.
Perfectly understand. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there are a lot of anecdotes from all these trips, but it will take too much time to tell them all. And my memory is, because of the long COVID, not so good anymore. So I may not even remember some of them.
Well, basically, it's not the memory; it's the amount which is on the hard drive, and there's a couple of there's some delivery time. I understand that. So
yeah. Well, during these trips, these North Pole trips, I could combine the flying as well, because I did a lot of flying in Russia, especially helicopter flying. I have about 200 hours on a Me-2 helicopter. And when we were in Siberia, in Murmansk, they had also Me-2 helicopters there. And sometimes we had to wait for a long time to go to the North Pole, because the trip with Ilyushin took about 3 hours to go to the North Pole, and you had to have a window of more than 3 hours of good weather before you could go. And at one time they said, yeah, could you fly some tourists, some people who like to fly around Murmansk? So I did tourist flying on the Me-2. That was very nice. And one of the flights, they told me, because I had somebody there for the radio, because my Russian is not that very good. And he said, you have to go back because the Ilyushin is ready for you for the North Pole. So
okay.
I had to quickly fly back to be on time for the Ilyushin. So there are a lot of stories like that, but yeah, it would take too much time to tell them all.
Nathalie, can I ask, having jumped out of the Ilyushin onto the North Pole and landed, how did you get back out of there from then? Did they send the helicopters or what?
They had evacuations. The Mi-8 helicopter was always there. And from Ice Airport, because the Mi-8 flew from where we jumped from the North Pole, the 90 degrees, to Ice Airport. Every year there was made an Ice Airport for also other people. They went even scuba diving on the North Pole, and all kinds of people who wanted to walk to the North Pole. So that's why the Ice Airport is made, and there also the Antonov 26 could fly there. I think it was a 26. I'm not quite sure. It was an Antonov with the engines high on the wings, and they could fly there as well. So the Mi-8 flew to the Ice Airport, and then we were evacuated with the Antonovs to Murmansk or to Khatanga, wherever we were stationed in Siberia. I remember one time because the pilots of the Mi-8s for the evacuation were always the same. And after a few times landing on the North Pole, I was busy field packing my parachutes, and there came two hands from behind over my eyes and said, "We have to stop meeting like this." And it was the pilot of the Mi-8, because he saw me almost every year there. And the last time I was there, I saw the North Pole a couple of times, so I went to sit in the Mi-8 because it was nice and warm in the Mi-8, and I didn't want to be outside in the cold anymore. And then when everybody got in the helicopter, they said to me, the captain wants you to come in the cockpit. And that was the guy who I met a few times. And he said, "You have to fly the Mi-8 back to Ice Airport." And so I did. So they even put it in my logbook. So I have a flight from the Mi-8 from North Pole to Ice Airport, which is very nice, of course. Well, any more questions?
Yeah, never get.
My partner is giving comments.
Well, if there's not any more questions, I think we will all give Nathalie a big, big hand and thank her for a wonderful presentation. And your background is even more impressive by now, because now I understand what you have been doing.
Well, it's quite easy. You met people and they have certain ideas about doing things, and well, if you participate, you have wonderful memories about it.
Sure, I'm sure of that. Well, thank you, and goodbye to everybody. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you all. Bye.